Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Today will be our last day of reading The Boy Who Dared. We are going to start on page 56 and read to the end of the book. Thank you for joining me. All right. Looks like there's a couple page breaks on this page, so I'm going to start right here. This one. Moabit Prison, Berlin. Helmuth meets his court-appointed lawyer, Herr Dr. Knie. He's a nervous man wearing a crooked red bow tie and a Nazi party pin on his lapel. He spends the short time rifling through papers, asking simple questions, but not taking any notes. Helmuth's heart sinks. His lawyer does not work for him. He works for the Nazi government. Nighttime. Another sleepless night. Helmuth goes over the terrible interrogations again and again, turning each over in his head. Wants to be able to recall detail so that he is consistent in his answers. August 11th, 1942. The People's Court. The four boys are hustled into the courtroom. Helmuth wears the same clothes he wore the day of his arrest, 7 months ago. His trousers hang loosely. His white-collared shirt flutters about, so thin he has grown. It is the same with his friends, but they have been permitted to shower with real soap, and so they look scrubbed. The courtroom has dark oak floors, dark wood paneled walls. 3 blood-red swastika black banners hang from ceiling to floor. A large portrait of Adolf Hitler. And it's packed with spectators, mostly reporters. Murmurs ripple over the room as the boys enter. A guard uncuffs Karl, Rudy, and Gerhard, but Helmuth is left cuffed, his hands chained behind his back. That tells Helmuth something, that the justices have already decided he is the most important criminal, that he has committed the most serious offense. He feels nauseous. The more serious the justices consider the offense, the less likely that Helmuth will be tried as a juvenile. Helmuth looks around the crowded room, spots Herr Dr. Knie, Gestapo agent Musner, Heinrich Mons, his boss from the Bieber house, wearing his Nazi party uniform, Werner Kranz, the apprentice. Werner looks pained, as if dragged there by the scruff of his neck. Herr Schneeb, Karl's father. No Muddy, no Oma or Opa. Helmuth is relieved. He couldn't bear to see their anguished faces. At 10 o'clock, the tall wooden doors swing open and the courtroom falls quiet. At once, everyone rises as 7 justices enter. 3 wear blood-red caps as flowing red robes with large golden eagles emblazoned on the front. The others wear stiffly pressed SS and military uniforms. There is no jury. The justices are the jury. The trial opens with the slam of the gavel that rings throughout the courtroom. One of the red-robed justices, Justice Engert, asks the boys simple questions: name, birth date, residence, occupation, and then reviews the charges against each boy. Deliberate listening to foreign radio stations, willfully distributing newscasts of foreign radio stations, conspiracy to commit high treason. Chief Justice Fikes takes over, barking out question after question, testing each boy's knowledge about Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party. Wab, what is our Führer's birthday? Schneeb, what are the words to the Horst Wessel? Dewar, how many points in the Nazi program? Helmuth gets the hardest questions. Hubener, what are the political aims for the Nazi Party? He answers each question sharply. Witnesses are called. Werner Kranz and Heinrich Mons recount the events of January 20th, when Herr Mons caught Helmuth trying to press a leaflet into Werner's hand. Gestapo agent Musner details each interrogation word by word from his notes, saying things like, after lengthy remonstrations and, after emphatic admonishments, Hubener was moved to make a confession about the extent of his destructive activity. Helmuth grunts at the words. That's what the Gestapo calls beatings and torture. Remonstrations and admonishments. The justices don't miss a detail from the boys' lives. Their party record books, their school records, their Hitler Youth records, even Rudy's Lord Lister detective card becomes evidence against them. Soon the questioning turns to the boys' crime. Justice Fikes rehashes the same questions the boys had answered under interrogation, but there is a different edge to his questions now. Helmuth concentrates, tries to put his finger on the shift. Slowly, it dawns on Helmuth. Fikes is questioning them as adults. They are all being tried as adults and not juveniles. Hot fear spreads through Helmuth. An adult conviction means much worse, a longer prison sentence or possibly the death sentence. He can't let that happen. Helmuth focuses, clears his mind. He knows what he must do. He must keep the attention of the justices. He must convince them that he was the ringleader, that Carl and Rudy and Dewar were simply followers, no matter what. It's Helmuth's turn. Chief Justice Fikes takes out the pamphlets and flyers and clears the courtroom to protect the spectators from the enemy propaganda. The sight of the pamphlets and flyers enrages the judge. "Why did you write these?" he barks at Helmuth. "To let the people know the truth," answers Helmuth in a loud, clear voice. The other justices fall deathly silent. He can feel Carl, Rudy, and Dewar stiffen next to him, but Helmuth knows what he is doing. There is no other way. "Do you really believe that the British are telling the truth?" says Fikes. "Absolutely. Don't you?" Fikes' face grows purple with rage. "Do you doubt Germany's ultimate victory? Do you actually believe that Germany can win the war?" Justice Fikes is screaming now. "Are you suggesting that your leaders are lying?" Helmuth takes a deep breath and, in the most contemptible manner he can muster, he says, "Jawohl, ihr lügt." Yes, you are all liars. Pandemonium breaks out among the justices. Helmuth's attorney snaps back, scowls at Helmuth as if to say, "Are you crazy?" Helmuth's insolence launches Justice Fikes to his feet. He leans over the bench, purple with rage. "You snot-nosed kid, what do you know about war? You are scum, a traitor." He snaps the file shut and addresses Helmuth's attorney. "Is there anything else you'd like to say?" Herr Dr. Nee argues that Helmuth succumbed to enemy propaganda because he was too immature to resist the temptation. "I ask that the court be lenient in consideration of his age," says the attorney. "That's enough," Fikes glares at Helmuth. "Hubener is no average boy." He brings another paper out of a folder. Helmuth recognizes that paper. It's his graduation essay, The War of the Plutocrats. Fikes rattles the essay at Helmuth's attorney. "This is the work of a person far above 18 years. This is no immature youth. The people must be protected from traitors like him. The fatherland is at stake." He replaces the essay, clasps the folder shut, slams his fist down on top. "This defendant acted with the thought and cunning of an adult. Consequently, he is to be sentenced as an adult. Without exception, this precocious young man has long since outgrown his youth." Justice Fikes beckons the other two justices. They hover behind the bench before drawing back to their chairs. "We are ready for sentencing," says Fikes. The courtroom doors swing open and the spectators fill their seats. Helmuth's heart pounds against his ribcage as Justice Fikes begins. "The court orders the following to be sentenced," he says in a smug, satisfied voice. "Hubener, for listening to a foreign radio station and distributing the news heard in connection with conspiracy to commit high treason and treasonable support of the enemy, to death and the loss of his civil rights during his lifetime." All around Helmuth, the courtroom, the justices, the swastika banners explode. Red, white, yellow, blue streak his eyes. His knees buckle. The guard yanks him to his feet. He hears Fikes pronounce "Wab," conspiracy to commit high treason, 10 years imprisonment. Schneeb, 5 years imprisonment. Dewar, 4 years imprisonment. The defendants are to bear the cost of the proceedings. "Have you anything to say?" says Fikes. "Dewar?" "No." "Schneeb?" "No." "Wab?" "No." "Hubener?" Helmuth struggles to regain his thoughts, to bring the pieces together. He points a finger at the justices. "All I did was tell the truth, and you have sentenced me to die just for telling the truth. My time is now, but your time will come." The courtroom erupts in a roar. "Shut up," screams Justice Fikes. Push him down! Shut him up! His gavel slams again and again. The guard leaps upon Helmuth, forces him to his seat. His heart slams against his rib cage. He gulps for air. He did the right thing. He knows he did. Otherwise, the justices would execute them all. The trial is over. The boys are shackled and led to a small holding cell in the basement. A guard removes the handcuffs from Carl, Rudy, and Dewar, but leaves Helmuth shackled. "Helmuth!" cries Rudy. "Why did you do that?" "Because it's the truth," says Helmuth. He feels his eyes well with tears as he blinks them away. "I did the right thing. I have no regrets." "They will reduce or cancel the verdict," says Carl. "You are too young." "No," says Helmuth. "They will make an example out of me." A guard returns and says, "Wab, Schneeb, Dewar, get ready to go. You're going back to Hamburg." The boys surround Helmuth, embracing him tightly. "We'll meet again," says Carl. "Goodbye, my friends," says Helmuth. "We will meet again." Helmuth huffs the ink dry on the last letter. It is 8:05 p.m. He reads it again, wonders what his family will think, wonders who will tell Muddy. He feels sad for Muddy. He knows his death will be hard on her. For Oma and Opa too, and Hans and Gerhard. He hopes his letters comfort them, bring them solace. The brusque pound of feet, the jangle of keys, the scrape of metal against metal. Helmuth stands ready. He has made up his mind to go quietly with dignity and courage. The doors swing open. 2 guards enter. "Prisoner Hubener, come with us," says one. It is time. The other shackles Helmuth's hands behind his back. Helmuth walks without stumbling down the long corridor, outside into the courtyard. He draws in the crisp night air. It feels good. It smells like Muddy's sheets on wash day. Above the tall red brick execution shed, between the leafless tree branches, the moon is full, opalescent, and he remembers the night long ago. Muddy tucking them in. 3 brothers. 3 dark heads nestled against white pillows, with white moonlight shimmering the walls, and Helmuth is floating. All right, my friends, that is the end of the book. I do encourage you to take some time to look at the primary sources at the end of the book. What I mean by that is at the end there is a little letter from the author, and there are a multitude of pictures, some showing the jail, some showing Carl and this is Helmuth. Some showing Carl and Rudy and them together and their family. They're really worthwhile to take a look at and to better understand the story. And they also give you a little bit of background into what happened to the other characters after Helmuth's death and after the war ends. So definitely take a look at those.